BTS news today. Everything seemed normal yesterday. Army around the world were scrolling through their feeds, laughing over small updates and snippets from their favorite members. There was no warning, no countdown to chaos, no clue that the biggest shock in BTS history was only hours away. When Jungkook suddenly appeared on a late-night live stream, alone, without any schedule notice, the world didn't expect that he would deliver a confession so raw, so emotionally charged, that fans and media would freeze in disbelief. His eyes weren't shining with his usual playful spark. He looked tired, vulnerable, as if he had spent hours deciding whether to press that go live button. He sat there in silence for a few seconds, breathing in deeply, gripping the microphone in his hand like a lifeline. The tension built instantly. Millions of armies flooded the chat, asking if he was okay, what happened, whether this was another cryptic hint about the band's next move. But Jungkook spoke first. "I don't know how to start this," he whispered. But BTS almost ended. Last night, the comment section exploded. Hearts froze. The world stopped. Jungkook didn't look like he was exaggerating or teasing. The way his voice trembled told everyone that this was not a joke, not a playful misdirection, not a cliffhanger for a music promotion. Something real happened behind closed doors. Something that shook the strongest bond in K-pop. At this point in our journey, he continued carefully, we thought we understood everything. Our music, our direction, our promises. But yesterday, everything almost broke apart. And I thought you deserved to know. What happened? Why now? Why him? For the first time since debut, Jungkook looked like he was struggling to keep his composure, as if breaking that silence was heavier than anything he had ever carried on stage. His fingers trembled as he reached for a glass of water. The lights in the room were dim, making his expression even more shadowed, more haunted. The air felt heavy around him, and armies kept typing desperate pleas. "Jungkook, what do you mean? Where is the rest of BTS? Are you breaking up?" He closed his eyes and let out a bitter laugh, one that was too pained to be sarcastic. "I can't pretend that everything is perfect anymore," he said. "We reached a point where we almost chose different paths." That sentence alone was a knife to millions of hearts. Jungkook then leaned closer to the camera, as if he wanted no one to misunderstand his words. He spoke in a slow, honest tone, every word cutting deeper than the last. "We fought, really fought, like we never have before." His voice cracked. "And for the first time, I thought this is it." He wiped the corner of his eye, not trying to hide the emotion. His chest rose and fell as he tried to steady himself. He continued explaining that the fight wasn't caused by a single moment, but by years of pressure. Expectations, rumors, responsibilities, fear of the future. It was all stacking up on their shoulders, higher and heavier than anyone imagined. "We always told you that BTS exists because of the seven of us," he whispered. "But what if even that foundation is shaking?" He hesitated again. Silence became its own kind of confession. Somewhere in the background, a phone vibrated. Jungkook glanced at it, but ignored the call. His reaction alone sparked panic. Who was calling? HYB? One of the members? Someone trying to stop this live before more secrets spilled. Jungkook resumed, speaking before the chat could spiral further into chaos. "We've always said we would stay together. But trust me, last night, those words were tested more than ever." The bitterness behind his expression revealed just how raw the wounds were as he talked. Memories flashed through his mind. Moments armies never saw. Doors slammed. Voices raised. Tears shed. Silence that hurt more than yelling. Members walking away from the table. One of them leaving the building alone. Phone switched off. Messages left unread. "We all want to go forward," Jungkook said. "But the problem is, we didn't agree on where forward is anymore." His voice fell to a whisper. "And when our dreams start pulling us in different directions, the group suffers." The weight of those words felt like a goodbye dressed as a warning that Army begged him to reassure them. They asked whether the group was still together, whether everything would be okay. But Jungkook didn't rush to give comfort. Instead, he looked down at his hands, studying them like he barely recognized himself anymore. "Sometimes," he murmured, "being Jungkook of BTS is harder than being just Jungkook." For a moment, he fell silent again. The live chat slowed, as if everyone was holding their breath together. The world was afraid to blink and miss a single word. Finally, he continued. There was a moment yesterday when someone said something that made me feel like it would be easier to just walk away. A tear finally fell, and that scared me more than anything. He brushed the tear away quickly, embarrassed. But that single tear caused a tidal wave online. Armies cried with him. Theories shot up like fireworks. Hashtag Protect BTS trended instantly. News outlets scrambled to prepare headlines. Yet Jungkook looked as if he didn't even notice his global impact. All I wanted was to sing with my brothers forever, he said. But forever is harder than I thought. His voice was thick with emotion. But listen, he added suddenly, looking up again. I'm not telling you this to make you sad. I'm telling you because it's the truth. You always said you wanted the truth, even if it hurt. He took a shaky breath. And sometimes the truth is messy. The bitterness in his confession wasn't anger. It was exhaustion, deep in the bones. A kind of emotional fatigue that comes only from loving something too much. We're still here, he clarified. We didn't break, but we almost did. He then revealed that the argument wasn't just about music. It was about personal dreams that had been buried for years. Members wanting different artistic directions. Decisions that they couldn't all agree on. The uncomfortable question of how long they can keep going as BTS, together, without losing themselves as individuals. Some nights, Jungkook confessed, I feel like I'm still that 15-year-old who trained because he believed in BTS. But now, the world is different. We are different. He sighed and stared away from the camera again, his throat tightening. One day, we might not be able to choose BTS the way we always have. And yesterday, we nearly reached that day. The livestream timer hit past the half-hour mark, but the shock of his words made the moment feel eternal. Armies begging for hope. Reporters tuning in secretly. Members perhaps watching from another room. Or maybe too wounded to watch. Jungkook tried to smile, but the corners of his mouth trembled. I believe we'll overcome this, he said softly. I do. But for the first time, I'm afraid. And then, with a single breath, the live abruptly ended. The screen cut to black. The world was left stunned, frightened, and desperate for answers. Was this the beginning of the end? Or just the hardest chapter before a comeback stronger than ever? The silence that followed the sudden end of Jungkook's live stream was louder than any stadium scream BTS had ever heard. Armies stared at their screens with hearts pounding, waiting for something, anything. Another notification, a statement from HYB, a reassuring message from a member. But the darkness on the screen lingered like a warning. This wasn't just a moment of emotional vulnerability. This was something deeper, something dangerously close to irreversible. Behind that abrupt black screen, behind the walls of the dorm and the company building, the truth was still unfolding. Hours earlier, during that night Jungkook spoke of, the atmosphere inside the room where the members gathered was nothing like the brotherhood the world saw. The lights were bright, but the energy was dark. Stress hung in the air like thick smoke. Everyone sat around the table, but no one felt like they were sitting on the same side anymore. Taeyong was the first to raise his voice. His frustration wasn't explosive. It was quiet, tired, the kind of tone that hurts more than shouting. How long do we have to keep pretending everything is okay? He asked, eyes trembling with masked anger. RM looked back at him, heavy with the weight of a leader who had been carrying too much for too long. We're not pretending, he answered, though even he didn't sound convinced.